Hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna try getting some recordings done today. I didn't get a chance yesterday. I have a sick little boy that I have today as well as yesterday. So we'll try to get through this recording. But anyway, we're in the God Noble Tavern. And we found a codex already, so Navarra. The fourth time I attempted to cross the border into Navarra from Olay, and was turned back by chevaliers. Excuse me. I just bit my tongue. I decided to take the more roundabout path, a ship back to Ferelden, and then another to Navarra. The outcome was more than worth the trouble. The whole country is filled with artistry, from the statues of heroes that litter the streets, even the meanest villages, to the glittering gold of College of Magi in Cumberland. Perhaps nowhere is more astonishing than the vast necropolis outside Navarra City. Unlike most of the followers of Andraste, the Narvarians do not burn their dead, but instead they carefully preserve the bodies and seal them in elaborate tombs. Some of the wealthiest Navarras began to construction of their own tombs while quite young, and these become incredible places, complete with gardens, bathhouse, and ballrooms, utterly silent, kept only for the dead. In the Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of the Chantry Scholar by Brother Gentivi. And we get to learn more from
ability comes to get drunk and decide who is the most
Cassandra and
self-important of them all. Good time.
Very
I
good.
wonder if they have a good plum wine.
Look at what that woman's wearing. Is she drunk, or does she just have bad taste?
Both. How about that, Liliana? Both. Let's get this first.
What can I get you, stranger?
Anyone need help? Maybe something not strictly legal. He glances around for prying eyes, then produces a few notes on behalf of interested parties. Alright. Corruptance Interruptus. R has a small request. It's always useful to have a big name in your pocket, and there's nothing better than snagging them with their knickers down. If in your travels wide, someone were to come across notes between illicit lovers, I have certain specialists who can make the most of the text, deliver to the bartender, and an investment towards future manipulation will be handsomely paid. We already been collecting those. Solving problems. D requires swift action. Oh, excuse me. I have trouble. I feel my more excitable young associates got a little nervous during a couple of delicate handovers. Sufficient to say, a little mess needs attention. Life is normally cheap, but if word of this gets out, there will be consequences. My men are under close watch, so I would be most grateful for someone willing to take care of this. Coin is assured. K requests the following. The troubles of new blood seems to find me. I've ruffled some feathers with my alternative tactics, and certain people have had me blacklisted by my primary suppliers. So I put this out there to those enterprising friends who want an ally, and perhaps a little coin. 15 toxin extract samples will be more than enough to assure ensure that I can contain building support. Simple, isn't it? And yes, we do have dogs to contend with too. Oop. I don't know why I get stuck there. Okay. Notices of death. Warden. It is always a sad duty to report deaths of those who have died in the service of the guild. Today is the duty falls to you, should you accept it. With this letter, you will find the names of 4 women recently widowed and letters giving condolence for their loss of their husbands. All 4 men were killed doing the work of the irregulars, and we mourn the deaths of those who died in the service to our ideals. Please hand this task with discretion and care that I am confidently you possess in spades. You must deliver these notes to the widows Irene in Redcliffe, Lorana near Lake Callahan, Sarah and Tani in Denerim. Many thanks for this difficult task, Raynar. Restocking the guild, my good people. We are facing work coming in from 2 fronts, and everyone must contribute. The irregulars are prepared to pay any man or woman who comes forth with the gift of 20 house bonuses. No questions asked. If we work together, we can stock the irregulars for war, Raynar. And I believe we have no problem doing that. Okay, and then this is kind of the letters we're supposed to hand out. My dear lady, it was with great regret that I must inform you of the death of your husband. He died as he lived, with the greatest honor, completing a task of vital importance to the guild. Rest assured that we will take vengeance on those responsible for his death. Please accept my condolence for your loss, Raynar Hawkwyn. This letter is marked with the seal of the Blackstone Irregulars. Miss Morgan.
The Irregulars thank you.
Good. Okay. Good. Task complete. Thank you. Superb. Alright. It's time to go meet.
Is this yours?
Oh, my bag of components. Thank you, dear. I was wondering where it got to.
You left it by the fire at camp.
Oh, yes, I remember now. How age creeps up on you and brings with it forgetfulness.
You're a great mage, Wen, and you're sharper and wiser than many people I know. Some young ones, too.
Oh, but you should have seen me 15, 20 years ago. The fires have dimmed somewhat since then. But thank you, Liliana, for picking up after this old lady.
Whoops. Alright, then another one here. The Legend of Callahan, Chapter 3. Callahan's legend tells that Lady Shaina harbored a love for her king that went beyond friendship, a love that she kept secret out of her sense of duty and honor. When offered a love potion by the witch in disguise, a witch who would later turn out to be the vengeance-seeking sister of Arl Simmons, Lady Shaina gave in to temptation. She used the potion on Callahan, but the Queen of Merrin discovered that the two of them together that night, and broken-hearted, fled Denerim to return to her father. She told Meriden everything, and he angrily threatened to revoke his support of Callahan and begin anew the Civil War. It is said that Lady Shadow felt remorseful at her manipulation of her best friend's heart and confessed her use of forbidden magic to the court. Although her life was forfeit, Callahan forgave Lady Shadow for what she had done and refused to have her executed. Meriden fiercely rose the other Arls against Callahan and Leishan. And it was not long before Ferelden stood on the brink of civil war once again. Against Callahan's orders, Lady Shannon went alone to Meriden to plead for peace and plead her case, only to be found out by Meriden and slain. Angered but all saddened, Callahan challenged Meriden to an honor duel, a fight neither of them wanted but both knew was necessary, and Meriden was slain. The death of the king's greatest ally, an important Arl, was too much for the young kingdom to bear. The other Arls would not back down in their claims against Callahan. The threat of the civil war rose once again. Callahan went to his wife one last time then, although none knew what he said to her, and then he simply vanished. He left with Meriden a proclamation abdicating his throne in favor of the son his queen carried in her belly, who eventually ascended to the throne as King Waylen I. The king credited with establishing the throne destiny lasting to this day. Callahan would never reappear. The legend of Callahan himself only grew over time as stories and sightings multiplied, even long after the point when Callahan could possibly still be alive. Some say his disappearance into the Kokori wilds, or went to live with the dwarves, or even became a monk in the recluses Chantry order. The Chantry named Callahan one of the anointed in 788 storm. Callahan's sword, Nibtotis, was left with Meriden and became a symbol of Ferelden's kingship over the next century. Rumors of its magical powers grew, and when it was lost in the ambush that killed King Denerim in 824 Blessed, it was seen as a great blow to the Theron line. Several false swords have appeared since that time, but never has the true sword resurfaced. From the Legend of Callahan by Brother Hurin, Chantry Scribe, 810 Blessed. Alright, let's do this here.
You hear about a note? Maybe we have some things we can talk about. You are of great interest to me.
So you're the ones trying to kill me?
Who do you blame for a death? The sword or the swordsman? Crows are swords, instruments used by someone else for their own reasons. So one of our swords is hired out. He and his employees will do their job or die trying, but something interesting happens. Feel free to come.
But you were hired to kill me.
I can't stress enough that I wasn't hired to do anything. An associate was, and he's failed, and failed badly. A client can always hire more help if the job isn't done the first time. But I am hoping we can make sure that doesn't happen.
I'm listening.
Ferelden is a busy place. Blight, civil war, other mayhem. Lots of people not getting along. Sometimes they really don't get along. Maybe want to do something about it. The people that handle that sort of thing can get real busy.
So you're hiring help?
You could say that. Not many people we can turn to. So, someone that's crossed our path and lived, well, maybe they could help out. Make some coin. Everyone wins.
How does this work then?
I hand you a scroll. You read it, you learn about someone interesting. If you find out something happens to him, something unfortunate, then if we talk again, I give you money for letting me know.
I don't like the sound of this.
You'll be
You
alright.
don't like what's on the scroll? Don't do anything. Maybe he has an accident and someone else tells me all about it.
Hand me the scroll.
There you go. Makes for fine reading. If that's all, luck be to you.
It's only one negative. We can handle that. Let's see, let's save here before I try venturing out to the glitchy town again. Alright, so that means we're done here. Now we'll go across and meet up with Waylen. Save.
I shall do it.
Great, good. Okay, a couple codexes here first. Okay, so the history of the Chantry, Chapter 3. It is said that a battle of Varan fields, the Manra stood and looked over his armies. He had conquered the southern reaches of the greatest empire the world has ever known and built splintered barbarian clans into a force to be feared. With pride in his heart, he turned to congratulate his men and found that they had turned from him. Mephalith fell to the evil of jealousy. After all that he had done, his wife was the one to receive all the glory. He saw his wife's power and influence, and tired of his place as second husband below the Maker. His heart swelled with fury if he had conquered just to have his wife wrestled from him by a forgotten god and a legend of faith-hungry rebel. Then perhaps this war was not worth the trouble. Here, history of the Chanted Light comes apart. History tells us that Mathra looked north into the Central Imperium and saw nothing but more war against a rapidly regrouping army, and he despaired. The Chanted Light holds that Mathra chafed with jealousy of the Maker and jealousy of the glory of that Andraste received, although he was who led the armies. Martha traveled to the Imperium capital of Minrathous to speak with the Archine Hessarian. There he offered up his wife to the Imperium in return for a truce that would end hostilities once and for all. The Archon, eager to put down the voice of the prophet that had stirred his own people against him, agreed. Martha led Andraste into an ambush where she was captured by the Imperium agents, putting an end to her exalted march. Crowds of loyalists stood in the center square of Minrathous to watch Andraste's execution. By command of the Archon, she was burned at the stake in the Imperium, believed to be the most painful punishment imaginable. According to the Chantry, however, Andraste was instead purified and made whole by the flames, ascending to life at her Maker's side. By all accounts, there was only silence where they expected screams. At the sight of the prophet burning, the crowds were filled with a profound guilt, as if they had participated in the great blasphemy. So moving was the moment that the Archon himself drew his sword and thrust it into the prophet's heart, and in her torment, and leaving those assembled to consider the weight of what they had seen. Where else the execution of Andraste was meant to be a symbol of defeat for the faith of the Maker, in truth it all but sealed the fate of the worship of the old gods, and paved the way for the spread of the Maker's chant. From Tales of the Destruction of Thedas by Brother TV, Chantry Scholar. Brother Ferran Genitivi. As it is the duty of all true sons of the Chantry to make the chant heard from every corner of the world, I made it my mission to find as many corners of the world as possible. The Maker can hardly expect us to do one without the other. Excerpts from In Pursuit of Knowledge. The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. Brother Genitivi is one of the Chantry's most well-known scholars, primarily on the basis of the stories he has published, which many of his contemporaries dismiss as fanciful. of his travels across the lengths of and breadth of Thetis. Alright. One more codex here. Dragon cults. Let us suggest for the moment that a high dragon is simply an animal, a cunning animal, to be sure, but in possession of no true self-awareness or senses. There has not, after all, been a single record of a case of a dragon attempting to communicate or performing any acts that could not likewise be attributed to a clever beast. How, then, does one explain the existence of a so-called dragon cults throughout the history? One dragon cult might be explainable, especially in light of the reverence of the old gods in the ancient Devinter Imperium. In the wake of the First Blight, many desperate Imperial citizens turned to worship of a real dragons to replace the old god who had failed them. A dragon, after all, was a god figured like that they could see. It was there, as real as Archon, our archdemon itself, and as evidence made clear, did offer a degree of protection to its cultists. Other dragon cults could explain in the light of the first. Some cult members might have had survived and spread the word. The worship of old gods was as widespread as the Imperium itself. Certainly such secrets could have made their way into many hands, but there has been reports of dragon cults, even in places where the Imperium never touched it. Among the folks who have never heard of the old gods or any reasons to, how does one explain them? Members of the dragon cult lived in the same lair as a high dragon, nurturing and protecting its defenseless young. In exchange, the high dragon seems to permit these cultists to kill a small number of those young in order to feast on draconic blood. The blood is said to have a number of strange long-term effects, including bestowing great strength and endurance, as well as an increased desire to kill. It may breed insanity as well. Navarian dragon hunters had said that these cultists are incredibly powerful opponents. The changes in the cultists are a form of blood magic, surely. But how did the sympathetic relationship between the cult and the high dragon form in the first place? How did the cultists know to drink the dragon's blood? How did the high dragon convince them to care for its young, or know that they would? Is there more to the draconic intelligence than we have heretofore guessed at? No member of the dragon cults had ever been taken alive, and what accounts exist from the day of Navarian's hunters record only mad rants and impossible tales of godhood. With dragons only recently reappearing and still incredibly rare, we may never know the truth, but the question remains. From the Flame and Scales by Brother Florian, Chantry Scholar, 928 Dragon. Alright. Save again. Oh my goodness. I still haven't figured out how to slow this thing down.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking for Brother Genitivi.
Brother Genitivi? Why?
And why should I reveal this to you?
I'm Genitivi's assistant, Waylen. Unfortunately, I don't know where he is. I haven't seen Brother Genitivi in weeks. He sent no word. It's so unlike him. I'm afraid something has happened. Genetivi's research into the urn may have led him into danger.
And why would searching for the urn lead him into danger?
Perhaps the urn has been lost for a reason. I pray for Genetivi's safety, but hope dwindles with each passing day. I tried to send help, but some knights came from Redcliffe looking for him not long ago. I sent them after Genetivi, and they too have disappeared.
I'll succeed when they're failed and get Genetivi back.
Now, don't ask me where they went. You'll go after them. And what if ill luck should befall you too? This search is a curse on all of us. Some things are not meant to be found. I know that now.
So you can be cunning and he'll falter and stuff, but I do like the fighting experience that it gets when we go to the Lake Callahan. So I always go there for the XP. I'm willing to risk it. Tell me where he went.
So be it. All he said before he left was that he would be staying at an inn near Lake Callahan, investigating something in that area.
Good. I'll head for the inn immediately then.
Good luck. May you find the answers you seek.
Okay, we read that. His travels, or rather too curious nature, led him to the study of folklore, which gave him the notion that he could track down the most debatable of all artifacts, the urn of sacred ashes. He announced that he had found what appeared to be a trail of the urn, left in legends of the regions through which he had passed from Minrathous on its way into hiding. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Out we go.
I shall do it.
Alright. Let's go take care of our duel here.
Hey, the wonders of Thedas. Our Lehman once bought me a miniature Gollum doll here. When I was young. Really young.
Do you think they sell silk ribbons in that store? I've been meaning to spruce up my boots for the longest time.
That's all? No additions there, Win?
Are you ready? I am no savage. I would not take advantage of you.
I'm ready. Let's fight one-on-one.
May the divine look after you, sir. You've held yourself with honor. Begin.
As you say.
Down you go.
You fought with honor. The land we couldn't have asked for a nobler death.
Yeah, you're welcome, I guess. Whatever. It was wasteless. Or wasteful. Poorful. The door opens a crack in response to your knock. There is a light breeze, like a change in presence. Present the small painting box. Ooh. A large shadow nods. A pouch of coin appears in exchange. The door closes. Okay, we are needed in here.
I won't take the blame for this one. This was bad from the start. No way he was here to deal.
It is begun.
I ain't sticking around to see how this turns out.
Yeah, you're welcome. Crazy fool. The shop of Thedas. Okay. We have more codexes.
I shall
This
do
is
it.
something the game never lacks in all three in all three games. Denerim. When anyone in Ferelden speaks of going to the city, they inevitably mean Denerim. There is no other place in the kingdom which rivals it, not in the size, population, wealth, or importance. It is the seat of the Thran family, the capital of Ferelden, the largest seaport, and, by ancient tradition, the meeting place of Landsmeet. As well, Denerim was the birthplace of Andraste, one of them anyway, as several other sites claim to have been the prophet's earlier home, including Jadar in Olay. The Tantra takes no stance on which site claim is valid, but it is well known that Andraste was Ferelden by birth. When visiting the pilgrim site in Denerim, it is inadvisable to mention Jadar at all. The city rests at the foothold of the Dragon's Peak, a solitary mountain scarred by ancient lava flow. During Andraste's time, it repeatedly filled the sky with a great column of black ash and sent burning rock raining down as far as the Free Marches, but it is now considered extinct. Some believe it merely sleeps and will again darken the sky with ash and fire when the last Ferelden king dies, but this is highly unlikely. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, the Travel of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. Okay.
You are not religious, yes? You do not believe?
I do, to some extent. It does not govern my life, however. Why do you ask?
Oh, nothing. You are just a very good person, and it shows. And I thought at first you were religious like some of the revered mothers. But no. I thought about it and I realized that you're not.
I do what I do because I enjoy it. Because I enjoy teaching others, helping them. I do not seek recognition for my works. I do not seek the approval of my peers, nor the approval of a distant god.
That is admirable, doing good for its own sake. Some I knew were not like that. They bragged about what they did, trying to impress others. Oh, Lady Adele, you fed and clothed 20 orphans. How noble. No, it's nothing, Lady Clarabelle. You treated 40 lepers and gave them massages. Like a competition with false modesty. Sickening.
Did Lady Clarabelle really give 40 lepers massages?
Who knows? Lady Clarabelle had strange tastes. I wouldn't be surprised if she did that and more.
I don't think I would want to know and more.
Yes, make it quick.
I have a note here from your master.
Strange. Let's see this. I knew it. I gave that man the best 7 weeks of my life. Well, I guess he won't have me to push around anymore. Ha!
Huh. Okay, Orzamar's the next place. Gotcha. Let's see what you got for sale.
Welcome to the wonders of Thedas. We carry items crafted by the Circle, as well as a variety of antiquities. Is there anything you would like to see?
Browse his wares. You're not gonna take that. Ah. You're not taking that or that? Fey Touch Spider Silk. What? That's new. Still not good as my mod, but very good. Still not good as that mod. Very well. Just a note, this gift is for Loghain if you accept him in your party. Thought I'd put that out there. All right, geography of Thedas. Thedas is bound to the east by Amaranthine Ocean, to the west by Terrathane Forest and the Hunterhorn Mountains, to the south by the snowy waste that lies beyond Orkney Mountains, and the north by Darkon Forest. One moment. I have a cough drop here. The word Thedas is Devinter in origin. Originally used to refer to the lands that bordered the Imperium. As the Imperium lost its stranglehold on the conquered nations, more and more lands became Thedas until finally people applied the name to the entire continent. The northern parts of Thedas is divided amongst the Neanderthals, the Devinter Imperium, Antiva, and Ravani, with the islands held by the Kronori just off the coast. Central Thedas consists of the Free Marches, Navarra, and Olay, with Ferelden to the south. What lies beyond the snowy waste is a mystery. The freezing temperatures in barren lands have kept even the most intrepid cartographers at bay. Similarly, the western reaches of Neanderthals have never been fully explored, even by the Anders themselves. We do not know if the dry steeps are shadowed by mountains or if they extend all the way to a nameless sea. There must be other lands, continents, or islands, perhaps across the Amaranthine or the north of Parvalan, for the Kronori arrived in Thedas from somewhere. But beyond that deduction, we know nothing. In pursuit of knowledge, the travels of a Chantry scholar by Brother Genetivi. Okay, back up here.
Where do you think they get all this stuff? You think they,
More talk?
have any miniature golem dolls?
Jade, carved and polished into the shape of a large... Oh, I see. Well, that's just rude.
Ooh, glass slippers.
Oh, Liliana. That was a great win. Now that's just rude. Anyway, the history of the Chantry, Chapter 4. The crowd presented the death of Andraste were right to fear despair. It believes that the prophet's execution angered the Maker, and he turned his back on humanity once more, leaving the people of Thedas to suffer in the dark. In these dark times... Okay, one moment, guys. Hey, guys. I apologize. I had to answer that call. It was from James, my other half, calling to see how our son is and if he needed to pick up something for our kid. He's a truck driver, so we had some time to stop and call while he was taking a break here. So I know I was reading this, but I don't remember where we were. So if you guys are okay, we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of start over again. The crowds presented the death of Andraste were right to feel despair. It was believed the prophet's execution angered the Maker, and he turned his back on humanity once more, leaving the people of Thedas to suffer in the dark. In these times, mankind scrambled for a light, any light. Some found comfort in demonic cults that promised power and riches in return for worship. Others prayed to the old gods for forgiveness, begging that the great dragons to return to the world. Still others fell so low as to worship the Darkspawn, forming vile cults dedicated to the exaltation of evil in its purest form. It is said that the world wept as its people begged for a savior who would not come. Andraste's followers, however, did not abandon her teachings when she died. The cult of Andraste rescued her sacred ashes from the courtyard in Manrathus after her execution, stealing them away to a secret temple. The location of the temple has long been lost, but the ashes of Andraste serve as a symbol of an enduring nature of faith in the Maker. The humanity could earn the Maker's forgiveness despite its grievous insult to him. With time, the cult of Andraste spread and grew, of the chant of light took form, singing the chant in the four corners of Thedas. It was said, and the world would again the Maker's attention at last. As the chant light spread, the cult of Andraste became known as the Andrastian Chantry. Those who converted the Chantry's beliefs found it their mission to spread Andraste's word. There were many converts, including powerful people in the Imperium and in the city-state of what is now Olay. Such was the power of the Maker's word that the young King Draken undertook a series of exile marches meant to unite the city-states and create an empire solely dedicated to the Maker's will. The Elysian Empire became the seat of the Chantry's power, the Grand Cathedral in Vyrarol, the sources of the movement that birthed the organization Chantry as we know it today. Dracon, by the Empire Dracon first, created the Circle of Magi, the Order of the Templars, and the Holy Official of the Divine. Many within the Chantry revered him nearly as equal with the Andraste herself. The modern Chantry is a thing of faith and beauty, but it is also a house of necessities, protecting Thedas from power forces that would do it harm. Whether the Grey Wardens protect the world from the Blight, the Chantry protects mankind from itself. Most of all, the Chantry works to earn the Maker's forgiveness, so that one day he will return and transform the world into paradise it was always meant to be. From the tale of the deconstruction of Thedas, my brother Genetivi Scholar. Interesting. I mean, it's meant well, but just like any other kind of organizations or politic kind of goals. Wow, that was loud. Things like that do tend to be corrupt, if not, gain access to riches or whatnot, and consume power over people for their necessary. Even though the idea first began with a great thought, it turned to be, over the years, a corrupted thought. Alright, the Konori. Anyone who travels far enough to the north will eventually encounter the Konori, white-haired, bronze-skinned giants, a head again taller than a man, with frightening calm demeanors and sort of a sparkling fire behind their eyes. For quite a long time, people believed that all Konori were male, and that their male and women were simply indisguisable. It was not until the blessed age of diplomats from Ravani were allowed, however briefly, to visit Parvolan. And boy, did I really butcher that. They discovered that the Konori females do exist in abundance and are quite easily recognized. The Raveney says that the Cornori have a certain kindness to them, or at least a conspicuous lack of cruelty, although I did not observe the creatures close enough to evaluate their character. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Boy, my mouse is slow now, huh? And is that because the battery's dying? Okay. There, now it's back. Anar. When the Imperium occupied the area that is present-day Ferelden, they had 2 sites dedicated to magical experimentation at the extreme ends of the Imperial Highway. The southerners one was the fortress of Oscar, which looked out over the Kokoria Wilds. The northern one was Anar, although the exact location is now a secret known only to a handful of Templars. Whatever it was the Tevinter were trying to discover at Anar, their work was never completed. The fortress was overrun by disciples of Andrastite upon hearing the news of her death. According to legend, it was a massacre eerie silence. For the invaders caught the mages while all but one of them were in the Fade. The site was left structurally sound but spiritually damaged. Possibly because of this, the Chantry chose to put it to the use as a prison. Accused Maleficarum and apostates are held in the confines of Anar. Those who have a powerful connection to the Fade, and particular to demons, will inevitably attract something across the veil, making the guilty somewhat easier to tell from the innocent. Of Fires, Circles, Templars, A History of Magic in the Chantry by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. Okay. Interesting why my mouse is doing this. Oh, I should have probably saved again. Yep. Okay, we made it. Sorry for the random saves, guys.
He came at me! It's not my fault! Why'd he come at me? Yeah, they got to learn not to mess with me. Us, right? I mean, he's just going to disappear, right?
Yes. Alright, I'm not doing you.
I will never get over how quietly you are able to move.
It is begun.
It took me years and years to learn, and even then I am not the best at it.
So you didn't sneak around when spying?
We all had different ways of doing things. Some preferred not to be seen at all, to cloak themselves in shadow and darkness. I realized that it is not such a bad thing to be seen, as long as you do not stand out and are quickly forgotten. I specialized in blending in, not drawing attention and looking like I had every right to be there. It is invisibility, but of another kind.
Ah, yes, but I heard you often seduced your targets. They'd remember you.
Not if they died.
Oh.
Dying while in the company of a lovely seductress. Tell me that isn't a good death.
I don't know if I should take you seriously. But you scare me sometimes.
Yes, she does. Okay. Let's get this over here.
Yes?
I'm sorry to tell you that your husband is dead.
I feared this day would come.
I'm sorry, ma'am. And did I lose my dog? I lost my dog.
Very well.
Hi, buddy. Do you see anything interesting? Oh, you gave me a staff. I'm pretty sure she knows what it is. Thank you. The pearl. Alright guys, this is where we're gonna stop. It's been quite an interesting episode of codexes and people in general, and our companions got a lot of talk out of this one. So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.